All right, y'all. We are here with episode 1 of season 3, aka episode 105 with 15 with the Buns. As always, I am Yubi, joined by my partner in crime,
the Buns on the clock. 105 coming in for the season 3 premiere.
And I guess for season 3 premiere, let's kick off with who won the season 2 finale competition for a green lens. And there were actually some really good entries on this one, but I have to give it to Big Moran. And the winning tweet is this: I deserve a green lens of agility because it's precisely the item I need to take down the elusive Super Sprinkle. Which, for those of you that have played 39s in the past, know how obscenely hilarious that is. Unfortunately, agility is one of the only lenses I don't have. So, Moran, if instead of the agility you would like a monkey or a tiger, I have them waiting for you on Airy Peak Alliance. Just let me know, and the one of your choice is yours. So let's move from that, Buns, into shout-outs, and I feel like you should kick off shout-outs this week.
I should kick off shout-outs? Alright, I'll
so.
give a shout-out. Alright, well, I'm going to give a double... Well, yeah, it's kind of a double shout-out. So, first shout-out is to everyone that was very supportive this week and coming in and helping out with my dad's fundraiser that I put on Twink Info. I was very surprised when I woke up in the morning and found that there was $1,300 overnight contributed to that. So... means a lot. Big shout out to everyone. Thank you. I know I already said on the forums, but thanks to everyone. It means a lot, and my family. So there's one shout out. And then my second shout out is going to be thank you to everyone that's been following the stream, twitch.tv/fearthebuns. Almost hitting that 2K follower mark, so it's a big deal.
So close, man. After the Twink Cup, you just shot up. It's so cool to see that.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of support, a lot of people getting on board, so thank you guys for tuning into the stream, etc., and hope to keep it up. Hashtag pray for the toaster. Pray for the toaster.
And for anyone that's interested in contributing to... Well, actually, do you want to take a second and explain what that is? And then for our listeners, if they would like to throw in a buck or whatever they can, then they can head on over to the Indiegogo and do so.
Okay, I can do that. Well, okay. So, long story short, it's a very long story, so shorten it up. I made an Indiegogo Life campaign for my dad, who went through some very serious near-death strokes this past spring and is on the road to recovery, and he's doing a great job, and he's coming along, but it's relative to from where he started, and he's not going to be the same ever again, but he's doing a really good job physically, speech-wise. He's a lot to catch up on, so I made a campaign to help out with my mom, who's trying to hold down the house, get some money going. So the campaign on Indiegogo is called Fear the Buns Father Fundraiser, I believe. Yeah, Fear the Buns Father Fundraiser. So if you guys want to check that out on Indiegogo, if you can contribute any money or spread the word about the campaign, it would mean a lot. And big shout out to everyone, like I said, that donated already. It was a huge surprise to find that there's already 1.6K donated. It means a lot.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And you can find links to that directly on HB's stream, on the BIS Nation stream. I'll be putting up a link to it on bisnation.net, and there's also a thread to it on Twink Info. So I guess just to reiterate what Bun said, because it is that important, if you can spare anything, please do so. This is important. And it goes to help someone out that's done a lot for the community in a way that transcends, you know, just donating to a stream so someone can get a better mic. And I guess it's my turn.
Shout out. Yeah.
I guess it's my turn for a shout out. And mine is going to go to Anatomyz, who stepped up in, if his post is to be believed, and I believe it, in a big way in regards to the 39 revival. On Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, well, shit, the game's actually probably started closer to 5:30, I think. Gigantic turnout. Had 3 games rolling at once. It was great. The games started out really good, in my opinion, and then tailed off as the night went on in terms of quality, but what do you expect? The games are not going to be fantastic for a little while. But because of that activity, because of how many people were there, there was immediately calls for, yo, dude, we need like 2 games a week. We need 3 games a week. And I get that. I really do. Really do. However, that's not the way bringing a bracket back works. There's years and years of experience showing that if you add games too quickly, you burn people out, and you don't even have to go year back at this point. Just look back at the most recent revival that Moran tried that started out super strong, and then it went to 2 games, 3 games in a matter of weeks. Interest fizzled out, games didn't pop, bracket died. So just keep that in mind for everyone else when you're saying, why don't we have 2 Warsong Gulch Nights? Why don't we have 3 Warsong Gulch Nights? But what Anatomyz thought of, I thought was a really smart solution to the problem of only being able to play 39s once a week. And that is to bring in an arena night. It has no effect on Warsong Gulch. It maintains interest and will also help stimulate the competitive aspect of the bracket where it's, I mean, arenas, Buns. What's more competitive than getting in with arenas outside of maybe doing the pre-mades thing?
OG character 1v1 deletes.
Yes, there was one thing you could pull out, Buns. That was it. The trump card.
Take it to the streets, be men, take off the gear, get the 1v1s going, delete the tune. Who needs the green lens?
But so I think that's great, and I think the bracket is going to be in good hands with Anatomyz. So I really, really appreciate him stepping up and willingly taking the mantle, assuaging the old-timers like myself's fears of overexpansion, while at the same time finding a way to offer the people that want more 39s, more 39s. So props to you, Anatomyz. I'm excited to see where things go. Oh, and one more thing before we move on to the meat of the cast. Anatomyz and his guild, Jesus Christ Marie, you guys might know it from the Twink Cup, will be looking for pre-mades in 39. So for any of you listening that are like, I don't know if I want to do 39s, I'm not sure, I'm just down with the pugs, or maybe some of you that have been playing in the pugs last week but are looking forward to, or looking towards doing something on the more competitive stance, get a hold of him. Easy to find him on Twink Info. I think his name is Anatomyx. Already has a team if you guys want to go in and do it, so keep that in mind. Roll forward. Go 39s, hashtag dirty nines. And Buns, let's get into the meat. What's up with 19s?
All right, well, let's not make it so centric, but let's, I mean, originally this topic came up from Original or Falfiend.
Oh yeah, right.
From a conversation with the UB, which is awesome. Okay, well, I'm just the pun man here.
I like how you worked that in there, by the way. Very impressive.
Getting on with the story, they had a conversation. It was, you know, this is post Twin Cup right now. Oh, no. Time.
Right, light bulb. What's up?
No. This is a huge timeout.
Okay.
No, it's not. I'm going to go on with that, and we're getting right back to it, though. We're getting right back to it, so you can't say anything afterwards.
Okay.
So, right now, we are in post-Twin Cup era.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, what, 2 weeks since the Twin Cup's gone? We had a Ghost podcast. That's a VoDcast, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, you can see the VoDcast, but...
Yeah, you can see the VoDcast for our 2-year anniversary on YouTube. We covered kind of the hype of what actually happened in the Twin Cup going forward next year.
Oh, geez, I actually have to cut you off real quick because I forgot one thing since you brought off Twin Cup, and that is Living Force would like a 39 Twin Cup to occur. There's a thread on TI for more information, and now back to HB's regularly scheduled program.
It couldn't have been a different name. Come on, like, come on, like it couldn't have been a. God, you guys, these 39s have no creativity. What? Just copy paste 19.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay, whatever. So, Original came up with the idea. You know, the big question for a lot of people playing in 19s and in any bracket was what's going to happen after the Twin Cup. And I think that a lot of people felt that after the Twin Cup, I think a lot of people had a feeling the 19s was going to die. And I also don't think people expected 39s to jump up the way that they have. I mean, obviously, we just heard Yubi talk. There were like 2 or 3 games going at one point for a little bit. So 39s have a lot of activity as well, too. And more specifically, I think Original was commenting on how like the quality of games are going down in 19, yada, yada. Well, I want to make this podcast a little bit of a post-Twink Up era, what we can expect going forward, what's going on right now, kind of our predictions. But now I'm going to hit the pause button and we're going to go back to my ooh la la moment. So, yeah, okay, whatever. Shut up. So, I said post-Twink Up era, and this brings me back to literally a conversation I had last night with some people in Curse. I'm like, I don't know if you guys realize this, but you can take an expansion, and especially for XP off in certain brackets, and maybe just overall XP off, we were talking about yesterday how there were like 3 different eras of Mists of Pandaria, and I think that we're already coming into the 3rd era of Warlords of Draenor right now. So let me like break down what I was talking about, because it's gonna be an interesting lead-in.
Yeah.
And this is something I haven't. It's something I've thought about, but not in the way that we thought about it yesterday. So, let me think about this. So, initially from a 19 perspective, because I play 19s during Mists of Pandaria and free to play, I would say. But let's stick to the 19 course for the sake of the matter. So, 19s, Mists of Pandaria comes out. One of the biggest things with early Mists of Pandaria was that was when the wave of EU players came over to US. And there was a lot of forum drama going on. People came over, were really with the whole EU versus US thing, and there was more drama going on than actual gameplay.
Yeah.
People just getting their noses into places, getting all hyped up, getting buddies, picking sides. That was kind of like the first era of Mists of Pandaria, where like you had a lot of drama and tension going on. And then the second era of Mists of Pandaria, to me, was the first summer of Real ID War Games, where this was pre-enchants. This was pre-weapon enchants.
The summer of 19s.
Yeah, quote-unquote. And that was when we had the first real wave of all these Real ID pre-mades, and it was bumping. I mean, we had games going every night. People would queue pugs until like 10 Eastern, and then you get these Real ID games going where they'd match up teams, they'd sync people up together, playing these games, yada, yada, yada. Really competitive midfield fight games. And then after that, there was the whole scare of, hey, 19s are getting weapon enchants. And then everything went dry for a little while. People stopped playing until probably the winter or spring of the following patch. And then that was 5.3, 5.4. And that was really the last era of Mists of Pandaria, where that's when really all the guilds who were going to play in that era really came out and started getting the reps in, and the first Twin Cup happened. So that was the initiation of the first Twin Cup. That was when Ellie Shamans were crazy with their cast while moving, with getting Windsong procs, when people introduced the Druid FC into the 19 meta. Now, I know this is sounding like I'm going in a rant, but then it's really hard to do this sometimes, but I was actually able to recognize last night that we're already, in my opinion, moving into the 3rd era of Warlords of Draenor.
Okay.
And respectively, time-wise, that doesn't make sense, because if that whole time frame that I just talked about, Mists of Pandaria, that's probably covering 2.5 years. But that was a pretty long expansion, given. Warlords of Draenor is going to be wrapping up, like, in 6 to 9 months. Probably even less than that. Probably 6. Like, they are trying to move on to the next expansion here. Beta testing is going to be this winter. So there's been already a few different eras here, and this is important going into what we're talking about. So the initial era for 19s in Warlords of Draenor was the War Game era, where people would really pretty much queue Alliance only. It'd be War Games. There was Argent Dawn, there was Conk who was getting involved, there was me who was getting involved. A lot of people on Ally getting Real ID groups, a raid group of 20 people, all meshed together, and that's how you play 19s for a while. Until the queues, because remember there was an issue with the queues at the beginning of the expansion, and people wouldn't be able to get into games. And
was the Who 19 thing, was that this expansion or was that last?
That was the end of last expansion. Okay. But with the new queue system, when it originally came out this winter, there was issues because you couldn't get into the games and you'd miss games and people got frustrated, so we ended up doing War Games. And that was kind of the first era. Then they fixed the queues, Queues are popping all the time. And then the second era was really all the guilds coming together for the Twink Cup and the second year of the Twink Cup. Everyone getting hyped for the tournament, coming in. Really, probably this summer was the highest amount of pre-mades ever played at 19. And that's, you know, comparing that to the summer of 19s. Blows that out of the water. No comparison.
Yeah,
no comparison.
I don't think you could compare that to any other point in WoW. Like, even if you go back to days where tunes would get on private server, or not private servers, but like say PTRs, or I guess, yeah, private servers as well, to do pre-mades and such. How can that hold a candle to when you have like JCM and Waka Flocka doing like 3 a night or more a night, and then you have all the guilds preparing themselves and working together to get the games? I mean, you were seeing multiple games a night for months. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. And speaking from a perspective of someone who was actually playing in a lot of these Real ID games this summer, or even organizing or getting involved, etc., you know, you'd log on some nights and there'd literally be 4 teams queuing Real ID pre-mades, and they'd go for hours. So you're talking about, like, accumulatively, like, between the 2 games that were going on, like, somewhere between 10 and 15 Real ID games could happen a night. So a lot of games, a lot of different comps, a lot of different people. That built up for the hype of the tournament, and obviously the gameplay in the tournament, it paid off. I mean, teams, those people were sharp when it came to the tournament. The games were really close, high quality.
I have to agree, yes.
And now we're here. We are coming off of the most active time in pre-mating history in 19s, with some of the highest play in pre-made scene that we've ever seen at 19s, the most competitive pre-made scene. And take that with a grain of salt, because I think that this meta is extremely adaptable and easy to pick up. But because of that, it was very easy for everyone to be competitive.
But it also seems more fluid in the sense that it presented options for different compositions and different play styles.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It gave teams some room to run different comps, run a little bit different flavor, but it gave people the cushion to try those things out. Because I think the meta was a little bit in favor of that, as long as you ran about 8 or 9 of the same meta classes. Anyways, so coming off the Twink Cup, really high quality games, Real ID pre-mates going on all the time. Now, just like the Twink Cup last year, but it's a little different. Here we are. Twink Cups ended. This year went a lot better than last year. This year was a lot bigger than last year. And I think because of that, that's why you're seeing 19s are still popping afterwards. But we go back to originals. Original
point.
Yeah. You know, and the games are... He said that the games feel kind of bad and kind of sour.
Well, no, I guess I should reiterate. Maybe I didn't phrase it properly. What he was saying was he wasn't sure if they were better or worse, but they're different. His experience was kind of like a wild swing could take place in a game where it's like you have Horde winning, you know, they're up a cap, but then all of a sudden Alliance caps. And it seems, at least in my experience, prior to the Cup, if one team was winning, there was like a 95% chance the team was going to stay winning, and it was going to turn into that containment style of play. And from our conversation, it seemed like that wasn't as prevalent. There was more of a swing back and forth between where just because the game, one side's up, doesn't necessarily mean that side's going to end up being the winner. The other side, for whatever reason, would come through and either pull off the victory or at least make it closer than it was, say, prior to the Cup.
And I think that we can actually break down why that happens. I think I have a pretty good understanding, and I've actually realized it to the point where I've actually made the distinction that we're going into a third era of WoD here. I feel like I got a good grip on this. So, to me, this is the third era of WoD, and already the expectations have been shattered. Because I don't think a lot of people thought 19s was going to pop afterwards.
But was that really realistic? I know there were a lot of people that were saying, are 19s still going to be there? Are 19s going to pop? But that seems kind of nuts that it's just going to go from all this activity to literally 0 activity overnight.
Well, I will tell you what.
Okay.
I'm relatively surprised. And the reason why I'm not surprised that 19s is still popping, but I'm surprised that there's still some nights where we're getting 2 games or we're pretty close to 2 games at peak time.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. A lot, and this kind of touches on Original's point, a lot of the time now, you see that a lot of the core players that played 19s and a lot of the core guilds right now, a lot of the EU players, they've gone back to EU, and EU's having some popularity right now. They're getting 10v10s going. I saw some premates the other day on Stubbs' stream. They're getting 10v10s going over there now. The bracket, stream. Yeah. That's twitch.tv Stubbs EU, I believe. And they're getting 10v10s going. They're getting pops on a nightly basis again. So a lot of those guys from EU, hey, the Twink Cup hype's over. Like, they want to go back to where they're from.
They want to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, a good night's sleep, dude. So you have the EU community leaving. A big portion of the 19 community, and I would say the more veteran players of the 19 community as well, too, have gone off and tried the 39 thing right now.
But that's only one night a week.
I will say that. I understand. I totally understand that's only one night a week, but based off Real ID and me being around for the past week, I can tell you that most of those players are pretty much dedicating to playing 39s, whether it be making additional tunes or getting their tunes geared.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, you can't make a 39 and play a 19 at the same time.
Right. So whether they're getting their tunes geared or they're figuring things out,
that's
I've seen
also
a lot of
temporary shift too. I mean, it doesn't take that long to make a 39 at all.
Okay, let me speak. Let me speak.
All right.
God damn it, Yubi. I'm not trying to throw your bracket under a rug. I'm just stating facts.
I know.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, with that going on, now we're getting back to, all right, well, the EU community, a lot of those players are playing EU now. A good chunk of the US 19 veteran community is trying out 39s right now and is playing 39s on the selected nights and is getting prepared for that. So that leaves a limited amount of people from US that are still playing. A lot of the guilds right now, there's no real guild pre-mades or real IDs going out because I think everyone is so burnt out,
fatigued,
that everyone just needs a few weeks to recuperate. And I feel like there's a lot of people too who are just overall, there's an overall consensus where people are just a little burnt out from the Twink Cup. They put a lot of effort in, a lot of pre-made. So just in general, I think people are taking a little bit of a breather and things are being taken a little more casually right now. And that's why also, though, I think that's been helpful for pugs, too, because a lot of people aren't trying to set up all these organized things because that would affect us getting pugs as well, too. So it's good that people are just queuing pugs right now, queuing arenas, just taking it casually. Now, going back to Original's point. Now, why are the games shifting so much back and forth? Why are we not seeing so much domination from one faction? Or we're just seeing, maybe we are seeing that domination, but it's just shifting every other game. And I'm going to say that there's a lot of newer players in 19s right now, and a lot of the veteran players are trying out other brackets, or there's people taking a break, and the EU community went back to EU. So there's a lot of newer players in the bracket, and the people that are main 19s, there's still quite a fair amount of people playing, but you can tell, like, you go into a game and you can pick out names again. You're like, okay, well, you know, we got some SR guys in here, we got some Harvest guys, we got Waka guys in here. You know, I know you pick out faces, etc., and you can tell who the better players are. Well, those players now, because the games are filled with newer people trying out the bracket from the Twink Cup hype and hearing about the bracket and seeing streams, etc., a lot of people trying it out. Well, the veteran players that are still left playing 19s, they're carrying games right now. And I can just tell you that straight out. Like, if you're playing a powerful class right now, like, you can literally carry games because it's to the point where, like, there's just a lot of people getting used to the bracket, trying things out, and the competition, it's dwindled down a little bit more, and it's more on a pug day-to-day casual basis. So, yeah, I get in the game, man. I'm queuing on my Druid, and I feel like any game that I join on my Druid, we have a fighting chance. Like, honestly. Like, we have a chance in any game. And I don't say that lightly. And I don't say that to boost my ego or anything like that, but it's like, it's not like I join a game and there's like a 7-man SR on the other side, or it's not like I'm playing Horde and I join in and there's triple Boomkin, double Arms Warrior on the other team. And even if I do get in those situations right now, which I've noticed for the past week, it's not the players that scare me. It's not the necessary players on those classes. So, like, yeah, that may have 3 Boomkins, 2 Warriors, but I know 1 Boomkin and 1 Warrior, and the other 2 guys, you know, they don't scare me. Maybe it's new blood. Maybe I see their gear and I just don't think they're on the right track or whatnot. But the veteran players right now are having a bigger impact in the games, I would say. And that's probably the first and foremost reason for why I think the games have gone a little scrappy. I think we're seeing some plays where it goes into O and defense. You see stealthy attacks coming in, ganking an FC for a cap. But it's not where, like, the whole veteran 19 community is still playing at this point, and people are coming off of the Twink Cup experience and being like, okay, well, even though we're not in a pre-made call or anything like that, like, everyone understands transition play, everyone just understands splits, we need healers on O&D. No, we're getting a little more scrappy again, and I think that it's players that can take advantage of the situation and are putting themselves on solid classes. Yeah, you can carry games again right now. And that's it's really hard to do that at 19. You can do that in other brackets, I feel like. More notably, like 20 to 29. I feel like you can carry, like, games by yourself if you're playing the right class. But it's just hard to do it at 19, even with the influx of newer players, which I think is great, by the way. Some people don't like that there's a ton of newer players in the bracket, but hey, man, we're getting pops, and I'm happy. I'm playing on a casual.
I kind of wanted to spin into off of what you were saying, and like how you're saying this is, say, the third era of 19s. When is the last time that any twink bracket not fed by capped accounts has really experienced this sort of growth or influx of new players? I mean, that's got to be, on one hand, like how I believe you're about to say, like, people, like, the veterans are getting frustrated because that's obviously watering down the quality of games. You can't expect the new people coming in to play at a level that's been achieved of people that have been in this bracket for years, rocking the same class, rocking out with the same people. But at the same time, these new people coming in are the reason you're still getting games. Like you said, you have a lot of the EU people leaving. For the next week or two, you're going to have a lot of people working on 39. So they're kind of keeping you afloat. And you don't know what you're going to get yet. Some of those people could come in and be the next dude that's on your squad. So it's like, what is there a balance that can be met? Or, like, are the veterans getting too angry and they're leaving? And is that kind of one of the things that's pushing people to other brackets? Like, what is that dynamic really like?
Well, I think that the people that are playing 19s right now are going to continue playing 19s. I don't think that there might be a few people that get really frustrated and stop queuing for a night or something like that, but I think overall the people that are still playing right now are going to keep playing, and I think people will float in and out of what they may do interest-wise. But yeah, I think that 19s is doing really well right now. We've had 2 pops still, like, at prime time going on. Last night we had 2 pops going in prime time.
So do you think people are appreciating the fact that, holy shit, we actually just got like a blood transfusion, basically? We got all this new life coming into the bracket.
I wouldn't say that.
No?
No, I wouldn't say that. I just want to say that the majority of the community is just adjusting. It's an adjustment that's going on right now because, yeah, there's going to be some people that are maybe really excited. I'm sure people everyone from GG19 should be thrilled. I mean, it's one of the main reasons the 19s has been getting so active.
That's kind of like that project. I mean, let's be real here. It has been wildly successful.
Yeah.
So
and I think that that's like one of the main reasons, yeah, for the growth of the bracket and getting out and getting newer blood and getting people involved. And I think people are accommodated. You know, they know what's going on. There's kind of some ownership, too, on yourself. So it's like players that have been playing in the bracket understand that, you know, I can do my role, and I could get frustrated sometimes because I screw up or I want someone else to do something. But at the end of the day, I could probably do something a little better, or maybe I could be playing a different class. So there'll always be some people that get upset, and you'll have your frustrated moments. Like, I blew up yesterday one time, and I'm like, whoa, okay. I got really pissed off.
Wait, what was the moment that pushed you over the edge?
A unaware healer situation where I was in range of heals and they just weren't seeing it.
Did you point him to Awareness 101 podcast?
No, but I got pretty pissed off at first. Actually, wait, no. I took it the other way around. It wasn't that. It was when I was healing someone, and they went out of my range, and there was plenty of time to recover, and they just didn't see what was going on. So it was, yeah, I took that back. It was the other way around. But it was, you have those moments, and yeah, there's like, you can hiccup, and the other person can hiccup, and you weren't on the same page or whatever. And I think that, you know, people who are playing right now are playing casually. There's nothing serious going on. So the people that are playing casually, I don't think there's high expectations, if that makes sense.
Well, is that another thing that people should kind of take into consideration? Well, is manage expectations and kind of understand like the current composition as we work into this third phase of 19s?
I would say that yes, and I think that, like I said before too, most people that are playing right now, I think, have a pretty good understanding. Otherwise, they wouldn't be playing. And I think it is on a casual basis right now. And I almost want to start shifting in another direction here, because I think that, you know, we're starting to come up to the, I mean, supposedly it's supposed to be the finalization here in the next few days of the NWL sign-ups.
Yeah.
Right. They got their 4 teams in. Saxons, I think Saxon, Ugly Girls get Tapwater. Daedric's leading a team, Warsong Warlords. Flocka's leading a team, Waka Flocka from 19 Twink.
I'm not sure if Waka's going to be doing it. I know Shades is going to be saying aloha to everybody.
Oh, yeah. He's like, give me your energy. Yeah. Gino's got a guild in there.
Yes.
So there's definitely some people that are coming out for this. Now, going off of everything that we've talked about, 19s are pretty casual right now. There's no serious pre-mating going on. What I think's going to happen is I think it's really good that the NWL is going to be around right now. And by the way things have been progressing the last week and a half, I think it's good, but it might not be what everyone's expecting right off the bat, because I think that it's going to be a good way, and it's going to be the main way that people do have some sort of organized competitive games, but I don't think it's going to be taken super seriously.
But is that...
No, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I'm not
I was going
saying...
to say, I agree with you completely, and I don't even know if I think that's a bad thing, especially coming off, like, people being burnt out from the Twink Cup. It's like, man, the pugs aren't doing it for me. I'd like to get some war games in, but it is such a pain in the ass to organize it. And then they look at the NWL, it's like, oh, okay, we sign up, we show up at the scheduled time, we can get our games in. So that could kind of scratch that competitive itch for people, and we'll see if that has any effect on pugs in the future, but it does offer that kind of secondary mode of play that a lot of people in the bracket are known for enjoying, and what 19s at this point are known for.
Because I know me personally right now, I said I was going to need a little bit to think about what I was going to do. I'm probably... For my involvement in the NWL, I'll give you what kind of my outlook and kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. So, for me right now, I think the way that if I get involved in the NWL, I'll probably play in the NWL, and I haven't decided finally or not. But I think people are going to take it on a more casual level, and I think that originally where people were a little more concerned that, hey, the roster signups are kind of weird. You have to be stuck in a guild to play with a team. You have to be attached to a team unless you're a mercenary. Are we going to have enough people playing on certain nights? Yada, yada, yada. Well, I think that originally there was a mindset that this was going to be taken... I think it is going to be taken seriously, but I think people were assuming that guilds going into the Twink Cup were going to participate in this. And that just was... That's not the case, except for maybe the exception of Waka, which, you know... Maybe. So going off of that, this is kind of an opportunity for people that now you look on that thread. You see, you know, give me your energy. Ugly Girls get Tapwater. Warsong Warlords and Waka are signed up to play right now. There's going to be a lot of people that are sticking around playing 19s right now. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if 80% of the bracket is in one of those 4 guilds by the 14th.
Or a mercenary floating in between.
Right. And, like, I think that that's going to end up being a good thing. I just hope I think the initial mindset of the NWL. I think it's going to be looking to be a little more competitive, but I think how it's working out is it's going to be the step above casual for people to be able to get that pre-mating experience going and play. But like for me, if I'm going to play in it, I'm going to look to join a team where I can just be like, hey, can I be on your roster? Like, I have these tunes. I'm not going to be there every time, but if I'm around, I'd love to play, and if you have a spot, kind of thing. And I think that that's kind of where people are at right now. I don't think anyone wants to make some serious commitments to the NWL, being there every single night, every single game. At least that's my opinion and how I feel coming off leading a team from the Twink Cup. So we got some new blood, got some new leaders coming in, leading this teams in the Cup. Got some friendly guilds. I don't think it's going to be taken super seriously, and I think there's going to be opportunities for newer players or veteran players that are just looking to hang out in a guild and get some practice in.
Get some reps.
Yeah, get some. Because I know me personally, like I would love to jump in casually on a team, but I'm not going to be there every night.
No, and also, correct me if I'm wrong in this, but I believe it's only Season 4 that's going to count towards possible Twink Cup seeding.
Yes.
So this was one of the things, like when we were talking about the positives when we did the NWL podcast, is like just what we were just saying. It allows people to get reps. It offers the opportunity for people to play in a setting they otherwise would have no chance for, whatever that reason is. And that could be really exciting because those people that get reps when they see the Twink Cup getting closer might become confident enough to branch out and make their own team or solidify whatever team in the guild that they're in.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was going to go into, saying like, this is maybe a turn of the page here for not only the bracket but for individual players and for guilds, because this could be an opportunity for new teams to be formed, new friendships to be made. It's a pretty casual level, and people can get used to playing with who they like, who they don't like, etc. So I think it's going to be a good opportunity. I think that it's important for everyone to understand that I don't think that while the event should be, and I think and believe, I really do believe that it's going to be taken seriously. The events are going to be taken seriously, and in the sense that they're going to be carried out, the games are going to be played. But I don't think the games are going to be very serious. I think that people should be accommodating to make sure that the games are played, yada, yada, yada. So a little more community, a little more freelance kind of plays.
As far as games being played on time, I'm of the opinion that they should stick and stay on time, if for no other reason than to set a precedent for when the Twink Cup rolls around.
I agree. Actually, I agree on that.
I think that if, say, we start out lax with any of the time limit that's been instituted for that's going to be pretty strict, I believe. I'm actually thinking about having them put down a countdown clock. And so it's not like, oh, it's up to someone's discretion. It's, hey, look what's on the screen. We started it when the game ended. It is down to 5 seconds. Are you guys ready to play or not? Nope. Hit 0. You take your loss. I mean, it's in that...
I didn't mean it in that sense. I meant in the sense that, like, if a team shows up one night and there's 8 people from their guild, are you not going to play the games, or are you going to let them get 2 subs?
Oh, well, yes, that's different. That is different.
Right. So but that's important. I do think that's important. I just wasn't on. I think that's an important point for sure, and I think going forward, that's an important rule to get enforced going forward, because it was an issue in the Twink Cup, and I think that should be taken seriously. But I just think it's going to be, a more casual. The game's going to be more casual. Get who you got on kind of thing. So I meant in the sense that I hope people aren't really stiff on, I hope the incentive is to let the games be played.
I fairly confident as a part-time person that will be the case.
Yeah.
There's one other thing I was thinking though about the NWL, and I'm kind of thinking it's not going to be as big of an issue, but I was considering the impact that would have on pugs. Because one of the things about the NWO is that each game is streamed, each game is commentated on. And so if that's going on, I feel like that's going to draw a lot of people away from actually playing in pugs on that given night or during that given period of time. Because they're going to want to watch the games, or they're going to be participating, they're going to be commentating, they're going to be streaming. Do you feel that there may inadvertently be a negative effect on, let's say, the pug life as a result of the NWL? Oh, actually, real quick, let's bring up, because we have a few questions in chat, what the NWL is. It's the 19 War Game League. What it is basically... I guess kind of just what it sounds like. It's teams sign up for a 8-week season to do war games with winners announced. There'll be 4 different seasons. The 4th season will determine sort of seeding when it leads into the Twink Cup. And I don't know if you want to touch on anything on that. I just try to do it as quick as possible.
The whole tournament's hosted. The sign up and etc. is hosted on twinkinfo.com. There's a whole thread about it. Your team signs up for a season and can continue signing up based on, how many teams are available and, if you want to continue playing the next season or whatnot. There's 4 teams currently that are signed up for this season, so we'll see how that goes. So that's kind of that's kind of the overarching picture here, a little summary. It's just the 19 pre-mating scene post-Twink Cup. I think that's probably a good way to put it.
I think so.
Where were we a little bit? I'm a little bit flustered.
We got thrown off on that, but this is actually, there's something else I want to touch on the NWL, and I think this is something that will hit you pretty close to your Twink Cup experience. And that is what I hope to see, almost in a weird way more than anything, is to have a stream team develop through the NWL independent of the people playing.
Yeah. Yes.
And people need to get reps in to be good at commentating, to be able to be like Pat. Actually, Pat didn't need reps. He just jumped in and did a great job running the stream. But not everyone can be Pat.
Not everyone can be Pat.
Right? And Win did a good job too, but it's just I worked with Pat, so that's who I'm going to default to. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it in sort of like the behind-the-scenes role as far as organization, the streaming, the interviews, all the things we want. And it, like you were saying, it's like I think I'm going to be playing instead of doing the other parts. That's one of the, I don't know, maybe unknown, unwritten, unheralded things that the NWL can bring, in that it will train and give people the experience to go out and be able to commentate, to stream, to jump in and do some interviews with me in between games in a way that last year just couldn't happen because the only people who had experience also happened to be playing or leading teams that made it to the second day.
Right. Yeah, and that got messy. Mm-hmm. But considering the circumstances, went pretty well.
Oh, it went, I mean, considering the circumstances, it went fantastic, but if we can improve upon those circumstances, right, you know, more power to it. Getting
a organized separate cast from the actual player pool of the NWL and the Twink Cup going forward.
Yes, yes, yes.
The NWL delayed is a 10v10. Really, the first season is going to be 10v10 Warsong Gulch only. The other seasons may extend into Eye of the Storm and AB, but that's kind of
a point of
unwritten
contention
at this point. So the first season's going to be Warsong Gulch. It's just 10v10 premates, man, and it's just you know, kind of a league, a little bit more of a sign-up, but also not as strict as like the Twink Cup or something like that.
Think of it like the preseason to the season to the playoffs to the Super Bowl.
Just the preseason.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I feel like we went into 18
for one, I will say this. I've been asked this a few times. I will not be leading a team. That's for sure. I don't think I'm going to stream or commentate for the first season. Because of reasons that I don't feel like talking about. I may play on a team casually. So that's kind of my involvement. And I think that you'll see a lot of people fill that route. Like whether I don't want to play as a mercenary though. I don't want to be hopping from team to team. Like that doesn't. I know that sounds good to some people, and for people that want to get in a lot of games and be that guy that they call to, every night when they need that person. Like heck, there's going to be people who sign up to be a mercenary, which I think is the dumbest name, by the way, for what it is. It's a real ID. It's basically like a real ID sub-in.
Didn't we come up with a name for it in the NWL cast? And now I can't remember what it is, but I feel like we came up with all these terms. Actually, no, I think we called them free agents.
Yeah, free agents. Yep. So, I mean, they're calling it mercenary. It's basically like a real ID sub. Someone who comes in, can play for any team, yada, yada. So there's room for people to play in this league on a casual level, hop from team to team. So there's a lot of different options. Me personally, if I play, I'm probably going to post up on a team, and whether I play every night or not, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. But I don't plan on personally leading a team the first season, or really, I won't stream the games, and maybe you'll see me commentate once or twice. But yeah, I plan to be maybe a little bit involved in the actual play style and see how things go and being in the games, but I don't think I'll extend too much farther than that with what I got on my plate already. So I wanted to say that just because I had a few people ask me if I was going to make a team already, and I'm not going to make a team.
All right. Well, is there anything else we need to cover? I feel like we went, as usual, in many different directions, but covered a fair amount of shite.
No, I think we did pretty well here. I think that just keep an eye on the NWL. We'll probably be talking about that, how it's going. We'll be talking about Pogs. We'll be talking about WoW. We'll probably, cross my fingers, hope that I get an upgrade for my toaster laptop. Hopefully be talking about Overwatch in the future. Please pray to God that I get a toaster upgrade of a laptop. But yes. So watch for our cast to be a little fruity too, and we don't know what direction we're going to be going. Probably WoW, probably gaming.
We will definitely be here. And, oh, geez, why don't you throw out your social links while I try and think of a song, because I forgot the name of the song I wanted to do.
Okay. Can I just do my song?
Yeah, I guess you could do that. Oh, I got it. Okay, good. I found it. Whew.
All right, well, my song is Hotline Bling by Drake. Great song. Hip hop. It's been out for like 2 weeks. Get on it. Drake hype. OVO hype.
All right, and then, gotta jump on Felfiend, Overwatch hype. We need the soccer dad, Justin Bieber lookalike, and Swede to log in to Overwatch. So if any of you guys have a way to make that happen, please let Buns, Nikosi, or myself know.
We need Overwatch beta keys, please. And a toaster upgrade of a computer.
And my song is going to be Scroobius Pip, Introdiction.
What the hell?
Exactly.
Oh.
I forgot the name of the jam. I had to YouTube it real quick. All right,
Okay.
y'all. At Fear the Buns on the tweets, at BISNation on the tweets, /Fear the Buns on Twitch, /BISNation on Twitch. Please check out Buns, Pops, Indiegogo, and do what you can there. And we will catch you for episode 2 of season 3.